Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Jordan. When am I not excited? After seeing how much you guys enjoyed the previous one, I know that this is a topic that will be relatable. Personally, I feel like I am transitioning seasons. I'm coming out of a period of isolation and reflection. There are seasons for keeping your head down, receiving insight, clarity, and then there are seasons for celebration, execution, popping out, things like that. I've been in a more quiet period of refinement. Personally, I like to refer to that season as walking through the fire, a purification process, a refinement, burning away things that aren't aiding my growth and evolution, death and rebirth, you know? Like whatever the old structure was, burning it down to the ground in order to rebuild on a solid foundation. That's the fire that we're walking through. And most times you'll need to walk through it alone. The time spent in the fire is the time that God is refining us and molding us and preparing us for what we asked for. The changes are spiritual. During my season of really spending time with myself, asking God for clarity, guidance, trying to receive, the play so I could run it, I feel that I've seen the most return on my investment of energy and time and work, and I've had the most clarity ever. That's just come as a result of blocking out the noise and having tunnel vision, starving my distractions. We are living in a time where you can turn any way. You could turn on the TV, you could turn to your left, right, whatever. Something is trying to get your attention. But as it relates to our minds and our energy, we only have so much bandwidth. In this book, The Energy of Money mentioned, I keep plugging that book. She talks about how we have a conduit. Imagine like a pipe running, right? This is where we receive information, downloads and things. And in order to be on a steady incline and progressing, then we have to have a clear conduit for energy to flow freely, right? Whenever we start taking on external issues, we have unresolved trauma, we have all of these different things on the forefront of our mind, it's like adding sludge to our conduit. Sludge meaning like mud, like things that are backing up the flow. Do you know what I mean? So it's so important to take a look at what we are energetically investing ourselves in and the things that inhibit us from focusing our time and energy on what matters. When I say starve the distractions, I literally mean don't give yourself an option to resort back to that thing. Once it's made clear that something is blocking our energy flow, that conduit that we need, because sometimes we reach a point of stagnation as a result of sludge in the conduit. Like the energy is there, the motivation is there, the intention is there, but it takes longer to hit the target because of all of these things that have our mind and our spirit preoccupied. Things that most times we can't even control, have nothing to do with us, external opinions, things like that are causing us to even sometimes second guess the initial vision. So when we are constantly bombarded with entertainment and gossip and all of these different things, we cannot be on the defense as it relates to our attention. It doesn't work. It's like I learned to play offense as it relates to my mind. So to me, that looks like setting myself up to constantly be inspired, following and engaging with people that are already in the spaces that I desire to be in, through subconsciously planting seeds from reading books that are in alignment with what I know I'm called to do, through declining events or meetups or jobs that are not feeding me literally by not paying what I'm worth or not feeding me spiritually. I'm learning to be comfortable saying no because I'm starting to understand some things are not worth the sacrifice of your peace. Like when you spend time restoring your own energy, filling yourself up, feeding your faith, focusing on your goals, you become a little bit more choosy and selective about where you give your time and attention because you know how long it took to get to this point of complete confidence and balance. Do you know what I mean? So once you go through the fire, you're not going to walk back into it willingly through people that your spirit repels, through opportunities that compromise your purpose. We have to literally tailor our lives to reflect what we want to embody, or at the very least snip away the things that are holding us back. There's a quote by T.D. Jakes. He says, "I will circumspectly, with great precision, tailor my life down to the things that are necessary to get me where I have to go." It's a simple quote, but you guys, it's easier said than done. In reality, sometimes we don't want to cut it off because it brings us joy. Don't want to cut them off because we'll feel bad. I've come to the realization, and I've said this in my last video, that it's not personal, it's spiritual. Meaning, when you are on assignment, then to know better is to do better. Trust your intuition as it relates to the directions that you're given. Sometimes we won't understand. We're like, but I love them. But I just started this job. Whatever, you know? There's a bigger plan. So once you feel intuitively that something is inhibiting your growth, you can cut it off and figure out why later. You know, the longer that we cling to things that God is actively trying to remove from our lives, the longer we prolong our victory. Since being more mindful and intentional about where my attention goes, I've made more progress in literally every aspect. Seriously. I want to go back to putting parameters in place so that we can win. What I mean by that is, like, if your goal is to drop 10 pounds by summer, even if you're sad and you're in this mood where you start to emotionally eat, you can't reach for the junk because it's not there. You set your pantry up, you set your fridge up to where even if you're in the mood to fold under pressure, you can. You eat some grapes. Another example, if a person is toxic, you know this for a fact. Like clockwork, whenever you cut off dead weight, you start to excel. Even if they did have a come to Jesus moment, they want to talk, they can't because they're blocked. Like, that's starving the distraction. Is having boundaries, setting yourself up to win. So even when you don't feel like winning, you can't help but stick to the plan. Another thing is following people that are already where you desire to be. This has been so instrumental in my personal development, seriously, because when you follow a bunch of people that don't reflect back to you like the reality that you desire, then it starts to feel like your goals are dreams. You know, which they are technically, but I don't like to refer to it as dreams because it could very much be reality. We just haven't caught up to it yet. But by following people that are already there, it reaffirms to you that it's not out of reach. You could be in that position next week, you know? That could be you tomorrow. Surrounding yourself, whether physically or digitally, with peers that you admire, that you respect, that share a similar vision. Even on a lazy day when you're scrolling, you'll feel goofy because you're scrolling through all of these motivational posts. You're scrolling through them putting in the work. You know what I'm saying? So those are examples of starving the distraction. Unfollow things that are made to harvest your energy and tailor your experiences online and in person. That has helped me so much. I feel like psychologically what it does is make you embody your best self every day. It elevates your standard and that becomes your normal. I notice how popular it is too to distract ourselves with other people's problems. Anything to avoid sitting with ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, someone can be hurt, broken, so much trauma, but to avoid sitting with that, they're like, let me take on a project or a person that's a project. Like, anything to redirect their focus, you know? Don't be scared to walk through the fire. You know, you will come out on the other side. Feel every emotion. As corny as it sounds, you have to feel it to heal it. I challenge anyone who has that coping mechanism of taking on a project or a person to avoid walking through the fire, to do it. Trust that God will refine you through the process. You'll come out stronger on the other side. But it's not always distracting ourselves with people that we know. People will distract themselves with celebrity problems. That's what I'm saying. Like, shade room, gotta go. All the gossip and things like that. Like, you couldn't pay me to care. Like, I don't care. You know? I'm not worried about anyone else's grass because I'm too busy watering my own. Since I've been hyper focused on what I've got going on, it seems simple. Like, if what you feed grows, what you starve will die. So if you continue feeding toxicity with your energy, feeding gossip, feeding all these things, that will be at the forefront of your mind. There you have it, a messy reality with toxic people. If you feed your spirit with inspiration, with books, like-minded people, feed your endeavors and your craft, that will grow. It's simple, you know, but we have to make it simple with ourselves and remove emotion in order to be able to starve the things that are putting sludge in our conduit. What I've learned also is that distractions can come in the form of external validation or opinions. Like, when we initially receive an idea or something from God, that is it in its purest form. Typically, our first thought is our best thought. Once we start over analyzing and tweaking and this and that, and what do you think of this, blah, 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 then it starts to be distorted and loses its potency. whatever it is. Do you know what I mean? So even if it's not like negative input, it could be positive or affirming your idea, whatever. Either way, I've learned to be confident in my ideas and my first thought, because the vision is for me. Only I can execute it like this, you know? So whenever it's like too many hands involved, I feel like things kind of lose authenticity. Also, I read this book one time. I don't remember what it was called, but it mentioned how whenever we have an idea or we're looking forward to something, it's like it fills us up so much with so much energy and excitement that it like overflows. And that's when you want to tell someone and you want to get opinions and things like that, because you're so excited. And that same energy of excitement that like fills us up, that's the magic that we use to bring it into reality. Do you know what I mean? By sharing it and letting it out and running it by a bunch of people, it loses its luster a bit. It dissipates some of the energy. So they were saying to preserve that energy for the project. Leave it untainted, untouched, in its raw state. Hold it inside. You should feel excited. That energy is what will fuel you to complete that and work on the next thing. I definitely run things by my loved ones, like simple things. Bigger things that are linked to my destiny, I don't need a cosign because God already showed me, you know? So yes, you guys, tunnel vision has yielded the best results, blocking out the noise, getting super clear, and having laser focus on what it is that I'm trying to call in. We can't afford to have our attention hijacked. If you're going to be brainwashed, brainwash yourself by putting things into place to subconsciously plant positive seeds, you know? Podcast playing in the background, high frequency music, whatever we have to do to like trick ourselves into winning, let's do that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, it's down below. Like and subscribe. See you next time.